This is Grace coming at you live from the dungeons of Aufstrag. Now, they haven't spotted me yet, so it's really important that I stay quiet while I deliver this very special announcement from Troll Lord Games. Our crowdfunding campaign for the Reforged Adventurers Backpack begins in the last week of May or the first week of June, and you'll be able to find it on BackerKit. Now, basically, the Reforged Adventurers Backpack is your ultimate expansion for Castles and Crusades. Inside, you'll find 13 completely unique character classes, each brimming with story potential, and now fully leveled up for high-level play. You'll also find a treasure trove of specialized gear packs. And obviously, there's one tailor-made for every single class in the game, but we didn't stop there. We've lovingly hand-packed, pre-made equipment bags for every kind of hobby, profession, or weird little interest that your character could possibly have. Seriously, everything from brewing, to trapping, to performing, to Anyway, we've also included updated rules for multi-classing, class and a half, and dual classing, now finally explained in a way that won't make your wizard cry. And last but certainly not least, all of the pages have been cleansed of their ancient bindings. So there's no more OGL content. New layout, new art, maximum magic. So whether you're a cunning arcane thief, or a brave skald, or just a thief with a dream, it's time to gear up, roll high, and carry out your destiny in style. I think the coast is clear, and it's time for me to move on. We'll see you in BackerKit. Close. Just gotta be ready for everything. Really, really, really super quiet. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. The Adventurer's Backpack. Backlight by Evie. Crap.
I suppose I will, since she's not going to be on camera. I'll try to. Davis is here. I'm not sure.
Or just keep it short. Chuck, take it away.
Well, we're here.
It's going.
This is really weird. Not stream on the streaming side of things. It's messing with my brain. Are we? Yeah. Let me get a picture up so I can see at least the stream. Like it matters. It's this chat. Oh, there's a few people in here creeping around. Awesome. Yes, this is the early day crew. Absolutely.
Right.
All right, day early crew. Day early crew makes more sense, actually.
The post-lunch crew has gathered to discuss the Adventurer's Backpack.
That's right.
Next week. So
we were all chitty chatty right before the thing, and suddenly we have nothing.
It's because we were talking about electrical cords, one of the most annoying things in the modern world.
And suddenly we're all like drawing a blank. Yeah, okay. Adventurer's Backpack, all done, ready to go to print.
So the purpose of gathering today is to let everybody know, if you're just joining us, that we've got a live follow BackerKit campaign page. Follow that link that Grace just put up, and definitely sign up for that. But we want to just talk about the Adventurer's Backpack, what's going to be in it. And when Grace asked me, she said, well, who do you want to join you today? I said, well, maybe Chuck and Davis. I don't know. Davis probably doesn't remember much about the Adventurer's Backpack. But of everyone I know, you have backpacked far more than anybody. So what importance, Davis, does a backpack have to an adventurer?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Here's the question we'll kick off with.
Well, it's.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Not even in game context. But weren't you lost in the desert once without water? You've been stranded in a blizzard. You've done all of these,
Yeah,
trek.
it's your lifeblood right there. I mean, you can carry basically in your backpack, if you pack it well, pack it right, carry the right equipment with you. You don't even have to know what your obstacles are really ahead of you, because you can handle all terrain if you pack correctly and pack correctly, and make your life a hell of a lot easier. I mean, I know that there are survival experts who go out there in the woods for 30 days with nothing on their back or, very minimal items. But with your backpack, you can make it your life functional out in the wilderness for a very, very, very long time, to include, importantly, food. So you can pack a pack, like I would typically carry a 70 or 80 pound pack with me. And I'd go up into the mountains and spend 20 to 30 days with just that. And I didn't have to fish or anything. I had enough dry goods with me to last me 30 days in my backpack. It did not weigh 70 pounds by the time I was done.
I bet
You
not.
probably lost a couple of pounds en route to boots.
Yes, and I would always come back. I'd head out. I would fatten up before I head out, basically, for those long things. I'd eat like tons of food for a week beforehand or 2 weeks beforehand. So then I had a lot of weight to lose by the time I got out backpacking. But I think I'd pack out like 30 pounds worth of food, 30 or 40 pounds worth of dried beans and stuff like that.
I remember those days because you were an archaeologist in those days, and you would stay at my house some. And I remember seeing you occasionally. I didn't see all of them, obviously, but you prepping for your treks into the wilderness because you had that really tall backpack.
Yeah, over my head and down past my butt and stuff like that. And then once I got out there was stuff attached to the front and to the back and hanging on the sides and all it was jingly jangly and stuff like that. Then I got some duct tape that made it quiet so I could move around in the woods quietly. But I found out that's not a really good idea either, because I want to warn animals that I'm coming, usually.
You want to startle the bear.
Yeah, because one time I did that. I was in Yellowstone and I'm packing through the brush, right? This is outside Yellowstone, actually. And I'm packing through the brush in the national forest, and I can't see more than 5 or 6 feet in front of me. Nothing. I mean, it's like 6 feet over my head, just like that crowd of brush. You guys know what it's like out there. And I'm pushing through, and I turn around, like go around these trees and stuff like that. And I almost bump into a buffalo who was making his way through the same brush. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there staring at the buffalo, and I'm like really, really close to him. And then it's that point that I realized, because I'd never been close to a buffalo, how huge a buffalo. They are gargantuan. And I just thought, boy, if he hits me, one, no one knows I'm out here. No one knows where I am. I didn't tell anyone. My car is like 20 miles away. But he just stared at me for a minute, then wandered on. But I didn't move. I didn't do anything. But yeah, your backpack's your lifeblood. You can carry everything in it you need.
And it's one of the things I think that for this book, for the Adventurer's Backpack, when the book was originally conceived, it really wasn't more classes. It wasn't more spells. The original conception of the book was focused on equipment, because
Yeah.
at the table, specifically Todd Gray, who's sat at my table since the 80s, he spends the majority of his time in character creation making his equipment list, buying stuff. He sorts through the list. So he has rope and soap and a hand towel and daggers and knives and rope and grapple hooks. He's got everything that you might need on a wilderness adventure, so that he can say, and he does. Almost every situation that I run Todd into, he would go, yeah, I've got that in my backpack. And in those days, if you didn't have it written down, you didn't have it. So there it was.
Yeah, that harkens back to a different type of play, though, too, where that's important. Your equipment list is important. What you have with you is important. It makes a really big difference. Some people don't play that way. I still enjoy that way of playing.
I really enjoy resource management. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, resource management.
Yep.
So I think it's a really fun way to play.
I think it's for me, it's the best, and I still do it anytime I'm running the game. So Todd actually is the one who designed a lot of those backpacks. Neil got in. Todd did the original, and Neil got in, and Neil and Zane, and kind of designed them all out. And they're designed for exactly what you're talking about. The backpacks are supposed to be loaded with everything you need, so that when you're making your character, you can go in and buy the Wilderness Survival backpack, and there's a large one and a small one, and it's got everything you need for, I don't know if it's 30 days, but it's at least 20 days of adventure in the wilderness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you take your iron rations with you, and or pemmican or whatever that is, do whatever you can, just to get your food source in. You can go a long time out in the woods with that.
Oh,
That's
for
pretty fun.
sure.
See, and the thing about the backpacks too, and the resource management, it can encourage resource management. And this is what I'll say in defense of, I know, because I know some people don't like it that much, but in defense of resource management, to include like arrows, potions, what's in your backpack, what's not in your backpack, whatever, is that it adds a layer of stress to the game that otherwise wouldn't be there. And so rather than just being dependent on like combat as the stressor or some social interaction as a stressor, you also have supplies as the stressor or something like that. So it adds that layer of stress and creates in players, if you present them in unique situations, they have to think outside the box even more or differently. And encourages that type of play.
That's crazy critical. You hit the nail right there, because combat stressful, social actions stressful, but resources can be. I'm almost out of arrows. I don't have enough water. The rope is just 10 feet too short. What do we need to do? Are we going to drop that last 10 feet and encourage D6 point of damage?
Always.
Yeah. So I think resource management is crazy. CKs who don't do it are missing a golden opportunity, and
Absolutely.
players who don't manage it are missing part of the fun of the game, which is just being
One of the
for what's in front of you.
I was gonna say the rope things. Rope's a great one too, because no one really pays attention to it. They buy 25 foot or 50 foot, and they just assume that coil of rope will always be the same length for the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're trying to use it through a dungeon, you have to tie off here, and there's always little bits you're gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
And I have one scenario I've ran. Well, it's actually an adventure I'm writing for Inclunade. I've rented a bunch. It's called the Tower of Sabad, and in that tower, you end up way up in the sky, hanging off of a building. And this building used to be attached to another building up in the sky, but it's all crumbled over the time, and you have to get from here to there. The problem is it's about 75 foot across, but the problem is there's no way to get in that other building over there. There's a door down below. So once you angle and figure out, they run out of room. So they have to figure out, what I'm saying? They're coming up short. So usually what ends up happening is in that scenario, because they get shipwrecked to begin with. So they have so much stuff anyway, right?
Yeah.
So when they finally figured out the best ways for them to do it is to usually try to either, unless some asshole has a fly spell on them, is to use the rope, and they just zip line down, which is great. But once they get down there, they have no way to take the rope off up there. So they have to, you know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting thing when you start messing around with shit like that, It's
Well, and that's part of it, because like Davis was saying, you pack in, and what you pack out. So you pack this stuff in, and you drain it away, and I think that's and it's a great way to absorb
the rope.
well. And what we're talking about today, everybody joining us, is the Adventurer's Backpack. This is a campaign we are going to launch on Tuesday next, I think the 3rd of June, right after the Summer of Siege kicks off on the 2nd. And it is for reforging, as Grace is driving into my head, the Adventurer's Backpack. We will have a new cover, lots of new content, and it will all be drawn up to speed with the Player's Handbook and Castle Keeper's Guide and the Monster's Treasure and all the other books that we've redone. It'll be rolling out. But it is interesting to me that the book's focus has shifted in the past few years to the classes more than what it was originally intended to be, which was
I think the original intention. Do you remember the book in a 10-foot pole? I think something in a 10-foot pole.
I know what you're talking.
Yeah, the Rollmaster put out whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Where it just lists equipment, just lists and descriptions of equipment and stuff like that. I think that was the original intention, but then we just kept adding to it and adding to it.
Yeah, it took on something, and then of course people online and at our tables, the classes become a greater focus because that's what they're playing, and the equipment becomes less because they don't. Some may use it, some may not. But it's one of the things that kind of have to always swing swinging, the conversation around to, that this is actually filled with some exceedingly useful content in that you can fully equip your character in just a few minutes by looking at these backpacks. There's 34, I think, backpacks in here. I think it's 34 pre-made
Sounds
backpacks.
right.
Yeah, and they range from expert dungeon and basic dungeon, expert overland, basic overland, and then we've got backpacks built for the arcane classes, the wizard, the illusion,
Oh yeah.
And professional classes as well.
and the professional ones, right? Yeah, like a medics.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a dungeoneer one in there too as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It covers
know-
pretty much every scenario you're going to run into.
My guys, when we play here, of course, I've told you before, they love playing these classes. But one of the favorite things I like about that book is the expanded equipment, just in the equipment lists.
Yeah.
There's so much cool shit in there,
Yeah. And that was one of the things I remember when I was researching that. I had no idea that the Romans could do this, but I found just information on a Roman surgical kit. And in this thing was a little blade to scrape the eye. I mean, they did all kinds of stuff. And this is 2,000 years ago. And I thought, well, if the Romans are doing it, then we can definitely do it in fantasy, right? So the surgical kit is in there with all kinds of.
And you've seen that Roman pocket knife, right?
No.
Okay, I'll send you an image. There's a Roman pocket knife. It's a multi-tool, basically.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's a little. It's like a Swiss Army knife, but made by the Romans. Yeah, it's sort of interesting. And looking at like packs historically, things that people
Yes,
pack.
first you get it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of good shit in here. I'm telling you, it's really cool. So I'm excited about that we're still going to have all that cool equipment in there.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get it out. And so the plan is we launch this Backer Kit campaign on Tuesday. It'll run for about 30 days. And then we're hoping by July 15th to go to the printers. We have finished expanding the classes. The backpacks aren't going to be touched. We've finished expanding the multi-class, the dual class, the class and a half. All of that content's going in there. Chuck and I are going over the final pass on the classes right now. I think he's on Forsworn and I'm on the Rune Mark. We should be done in the next day or so, I think. I'll be done today for sure with my end of it. Chuck will take another day or so. But then it goes to the editors. So, and most of the art's already been finished for it. I had that. Peter Bradley's been working on that. We brought in a couple of new artists. So all of the components should be ready before the campaign is closed. And then we can go to print very, very soon after. So there's not going to be a long wait for the Adventurers Backpack. None at all.
Couple of questions in chat. One is from Crimson Arrow, who asks, will there be magical backpacks with all types of crazy stuff in them as well? That's an interesting thought.
That is a very interesting question. So there was magic items in this, the original one, and there was a magical backpack, I believe, in this too. And I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was in there. That would be a cool stretch reward actually to add.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, no, because that's a really, no, I hadn't even thought about that. Magical backpacks, so we have like the haversack of holding or something like that, and
there's
a handy haversack. Yeah,
maybe you could have some that are designed for certain environments.
There's a backpack in there, I think, that if you put. So if you want to take your rations out, say rations are 3 gold pieces, you have to put 3 gold pieces in the backpack and you can pull the rations out. If you
I don't remember that. That's hilarious.
Pull the rations out without paying, meaning you don't have the gold, then it's permanently taken from the backpack. So there was this kind of, I think that's in there. It was in something that I wrote somewhere. So
it's like a vending machine.
It's like a vending machine, but if you rob it, the gods do not restock it.
Okay. That's a great idea for a backpack.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and like I was thinking, like you could have like desert backpacks, biome backpacks is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's some in there. Yeah,
there's
an Arctic backpack. Yeah. What's the next?
Crane Wright asks. God, get that out, Chip. Asks, can we see a sneak peek at some of the higher level player class abilities?
Absolutely. So I can read them, or we can dig something out. Let me see. Where's my silly folder? Here it is. Let's do the Archer class. Well, that's
Crib Sarah says now we need a multi-class backpack.
A backpack and a half.
He's not wrong. A backpack and a half. I like that.
Backpack. Let's see. In the Archer.
Neil's magical pack. So you know.
Is that may be the one that's in there.
It is.
Dude, we can make an invisible backpack.
Like Wonder Woman's invisible jet always confused me. Can you see Wonder Woman? Can you not? What's going on with that?
Yeah, no.
Let's see. The archer at 13th level gets what's called follow shot, and follow shot is if you strike a target. In the next round, you can say, I'm going to hit the same target, and you can take a shot at it, and you get a bonus. If you hit it again, then you can do another follow shot and do even more bonus up to a +4 on that. Then there's the trick shot, and they get an intelligence bonus, and then a kill shot in the archer. On the kill shot, you've got to make an intelligence check, and you can kill an opponent. There's a little bit of nuance to that. Let's see, on the Ethereal Knight, the high levels, let's see, where are we here? Ethereal Knight had a little bit of adjustment. Summon Planar Ally, Dimensional Sight, Emmanument. What does that do? Let's see the monsters and treasure. Oh, it gets to gain 1 power from a monster. Then there's Plane Shift Multiple because it can only plane shift. That's at 15th level. It can only plane shift once a day.
Dude, that's a cool power. Gaining something from a monster, gaining a power from a monster.
Yeah, there's some really, I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of fun to do these, I think. And we will show more of this as the campaign unfolds next week. Grace is working on. Peter's already laid some of it out, and I think that went over to Grace, so that should be coming out pretty soon. We got some pictures of backpacks too that'll appear in this one. All the way around.
Oh, that's good.
Much improved backpack, adventurer's backpack, and kind of re-solidifying this line of books because with the campaign will be the Adventurer's Companion, which is the Mystical Companions or the old Book of Familiars for those of you who've been around. Is kind of redone and rescored, and that will be coming out in this Kickstarter as well.
Yeah.
What are the classes in it? Read them off real quick.
Let's see. I will read from the TOC of the existing one.
Oh, and the Scald is the best one in there, I think.
Love
the class.
Love it.
It's great.
The Thief, the Archer, the Divine Knight, the Forsworn, the Ethereal Knight, the Magic User, the Oathsworn, Pacer, Primal Druid, I love the Primal Druid, the Rune Mark, Seeker, the Scald, the Thief, and the Warrior Priest.
The Warrior Priest, that's the one I like.
I'm always waiting for the Pinto as well when I hear Pacer.
The Rune Mark is the one where and I haven't even talked to Davis about this. We need to have a chat about it next day or so. We're mulling over, Chuck and I are mulling over pulling it out of the Adventurer's Backpack and returning it to where it originally appeared, which is a book that we put out years ago called Rune Lore. Because it's its own class, it has its own magic system, its own spells, so it might behoove it to go into its own. We got to talk about that. Davis and I are both pretty opposed to having so many books all over God's creation to play your characters, but this one may need it.
Yeah, I don't know. The Rune Marks is the one I wouldn't touch because I couldn't. I don't know. It's not one that's intuitive to me.
And part of the Rune Marks issue, I was looking at it this morning. One of the Rune Marks. So when you think Rune Mark, and I know this sounds crazy because Chuck was like, "What the hell?" When you think Rune Mark, the only so when Davis, Mack, and I created all the classes for these games for Castle Stage, we put archetypes in our heads. And the archetype for the Rune Mark is Sauron, because Sauron is this master smith who pours his magic
right.
into the ring, right? So part of the complexity, I think that the image of complexity that the Rune Mark has is its high level 18th level ability, which is to create a relic. And that Rune Mark entry, that relic creation process is 3 solid pages. It includes what happens to the relic if it's destroyed, all of the magic item shit. And that's why, and this Chuck has been advocating for this for a while, because it has its own magic item system and its own spells. And now there's 40 pages of spells and the rune spells and the adventures. And it's a class, and it needs context, some cultural context, where these runes come from. That it almost needs its own book.
Oh, that would be hard to come up with that. I mean, I guess it's shorter, 45, 50 pages.
So I did an estimate right now with just the content on playing the class. It's going to be 50. It's gonna be right at 60 pages.
That's
Now-
got any. It's not any changes to anything. Add any kind of lore in or anything. Kind of stuff.
Now, interestingly, in Rune, there was a series of adventures I wrote, 13 or 14 adventures, called the Horn God's Winter, and those
Yeah.
are in their own book, S5, I think. Now we
Yeah, I think you're right. S5 sounds right.
So if we were to and what those adventures were originally written for is to show you how to develop.
Oh,
your-
right. I remember. Yeah.
Because we were just talking about having to go back and fix that. Remember?
Yeah, so it may behoove us to roll all this back together the way it was originally conceived and put out. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it as Sauron, like that type of magic. Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause that's really what I had in mind is what if I want to take and I love that concept that Tolkien developed where you take a piece of yourself and put it in, and you can see that rampant through Erd because the gods, when they create stuff, they take parts of themselves and put them in, other gods or
Right.
whatever, and they get weaker. That's why Unklar, when he shows up on the plane, is super strong, and when he leaves the plane, he's still super strong, but he's just weaker. No character can defeat him, but he's because he has spent of himself. And that concept with Sauron, I thought was always, he loses the ring, and I created that. I mean, I really mimicked if you lose your relic, and if it's like X miles away, then you get weaker. Your character loses levels, loses all kinds of stuff because you've put yourself in this relic. But if you have the relic, your powers are enhanced. So
Yeah, that's a
works
good way
out
to
pretty
look.
good.
That's a good. Okay, then that's a different. Yeah, all right. That clears it up for me. That makes it much more crystalline for me.
yes, and I think I need that language to go with it, and I'm not sure that goes in the adventurer's backpack. I'm not sure that's the place for it. It just
Yeah, I don't know.
too much content.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be worthy of a different book.
That's kind of what I'm kind of leaning in that
I
direction.
mean, there. It could easily be. It could be an interesting. It could be cool, especially with some of the lore and stuff in there.
As long as I can make a book of Gongman.
Yes.
I mean,
no one knows. What
here's
that is.
something we don't have. Here's something we don't have. I don't believe is in Zaya ruins, right?
No, we do not. No.
Oh no. I actually have. I've drawn out runes and stuff for Inzay.
There's all kinds of Isaiah stuff everywhere. We got to start gathering that stuff together. But if you
That
have
Shane's right. Yeah, Shane.
just head over,
Sorry.
Grace, if you could put the link you just did, I see that there. And be sure to follow this page. We're going to launch 10 o'clock, I think. We'll have a launch party on Tuesday next on the 3rd at 10 a.m.
Be sure to bring your beer.
Bring your beverages.
We'll have our.
Okay, BYOB.
Are you bringing your Evan Williams, Steve?
I will bring some Evan Williams. There you go.
Gong me like Chuck Barris. Lord.
There you go. But so the book will have classes in it, a bunch of backpacks, equipment. And then the last part of it is kind of a mix of dual classing, multi-classing, class and a half, more equipment, war dogs, some planar stuff, and et cetera. If you sign up and back it in the first, I think it's 48 or 72 hours, we're going to send you a sneak peek of the Abyss from the Codex of the Plains. Dr. Pepper, Jim.
BYOBB. Bring your own Bazooka bubble gum.
Juan Cholo over on YouTube suggests, have you thought about a mule pack? I find for long travel excursions, a mule or a handcart are a must.
There are mule packs in the adventurer's backpack.
We need saddlebags too. And
Yeah, there is.
What do we got? Let's see if I can find the mule section. Here's the mending. Here's the brewmasters, the seafaring shoulder pack.
Yeah, that's a bunch of them. It's cool.
We've got pack animals, the mule pack, what goes on the right side, the left side, and then we got the pony pack, what goes on the right side and the left side. So we have the pony pack and the mule pack. We need a burro pack in there too. I think burros were used almost as much as mules and ponies.
camels, llamas, burros.
Ooh, camels. I forget about that. Camels, they're still used a lot.
Yeah, there's really.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The wolf pack for the gnomes. There you go.
The wolf.
The alpaca packs. We could really go haywire on the animal pack. The Toad Lord is going. The Toad Pack. That's what we're talking.
The Toad Pack.
It carries one Dr. Pepper on one side and some Evan Williams on the other.
Oh
Oh
God.
no, we have the giant turtle pack too. So these little giant turtles, they can carry a lot, they just don't move very
They
fast.
don't move very-
Charge!
Oh my God.
There you go. The Tarask Pack. It just eats you. I don't know. There you go.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's been fun going through these character classes and finally getting them straightened out over the years of suffering.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff. It's good
It's-
stuff.
Oh, it's great. I am very stoked about it. It's very, very exciting,
I'm
actually.
going to keep this. I'm really most excited about going to print in July, so that this doesn't. It's
Yeah.
not going to be sitting around for.
It's not a hanger on, just kind of out there.
Cover's done, art's done. It literally, I think the hardest thing left we got to do is once the higher level abilities are approved, they got to be merged with the class and a half. But I talked to Mark Sandy about that, and
Oh, wow.
he said that the second level abilities caps at 10, so most of that's not even going to apply. So, and he's already done the rest, so I don't think that's going to be a big issue.
Do we have pack animals in there, like the animals?
We got mules. There's a whole bunch of animals in there. There's furs. Like if you're playing a ranger and you have a bunch of furs, we now have prices for them. There's all kinds of. Let's go through that equipment.
No, that's a good question, Savage. I'm not 100% sure. Have we actually got the actual cover finished for it? I mean, I know we've got the one after I saw, but I didn't know if that was actually the final one. or
Yes,
not.
that's the final
Yeah.
cover. It's done. It's ready for layout. I've even done the product page for it, so the ad copy is done. Yeah, Grace, please do toss it up in the stream.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Let's see. Where are the animals in this thing? Yeah, here's pelts and skins.
Okay, darn facts.
Caribou.
There's an elephant in there. So
I believe so.
I think there is. Yeah, there's an elephant in there.
Provisions and lodgings in here. Medical equipment. Where is the animal? Where are the animals? We got
Let the
arch
young man find it.
boar. Oh, it's merged with rare and specific stuff. I see. There's a right. No, those are the boars. I don't know where they are. Somewhere in this mess. And if not, that sounds like a stretch reward. I could have sworn we had a whole list of animals.
We
Yeah.
do.
Nope, those are the pelts.
Wait,
Oh, there was a
Merged
list
with the
there.
transport and animal tax. So a saddle elephant,
page.
500 gold pieces. It's on page 45. There's a war elephant for 2,000. A riding elephant for 1,000.
Yeah, there we go. There
Bear,
we go.
camels. Do we have the alpaca? We do not.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
have an alpaca. Holy shit.
What about a llama? I feel like it should have a llama. We're gonna add
We
a
should have-
Isn't that what in the Holy Grail? Don't they do remember the credits? They're rolling the credits, and the
Yeah.
guys were sacked, and now it's a bunch of Ecuadorian llamas. Are
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, this is great, man. Yeah, we probably could expand on this a little bit though, because we've got that War Mounts book, dude.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Oh yeah, you could use
Put
a
some-
hippogriff.
we should put some
or
War Mount stuff in
Pegasus.
here.
It
Yeah,
does.
cross pollination.
You can always tell when I do final things because it does have my favorite animal, the yak. So
The yak.
we are ready to wrap up. We got to all get back to it. Chuck and I got to dive back into these streams.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We were just doing a quick Adventures Backpack looky-loo today. So if you haven't signed up, please head over and sign up. Yes, the Yak Pack will be the Yak Snack Pack will be on the.
Wait a minute.
You
That
know,
sounds like somebody-
dogs-
Yakety yak.
Dogs were
go
utilized as
back.
pack animals.
They were. We've
What
got
was?
Dogs.
Oh yeah.
guard
Yeah.
dogs,
Well,
hunting dogs, and snow dogs.
my understanding was the way I learned it in college is originally I think it was the Crow, right? That stole some horses and forever and a day used them to haul their shit on. They didn't ride them. They didn't realize they could. They never.
Oh,
occurred to them.
right, yeah.
Yeah, they spread across the plains like absolute nuts. But yes, we're gonna wrap this up. If you haven't signed up, please go over and sign up. Chuck and I are gonna dive back into this stuff, and I think Davis is gonna return to engineering towns. I believe that's what he's.
Look at the look on his face. He's so excited. Look at him. He's like Jeremy.
All right,
So thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out with us. That was awesome. We'll be back tomorrow night for our regular weekly roundup at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. So
Yes.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right.